Great. So just for everyone's reference, this is being recorded. We will go ahead and send out this recording along with the slides and a few more resources after the presentation, or maybe tomorrow after we get everything put together. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I think we have folks stretching from Hawaii to Maine on this call, so it shows the breadth of the TEAMER network, and we're really pleased to have everybody involved and to offering the access and capabilities of your services to the TEAMER network. My name is Matt Sanders. I'm the network director. Myself, along with Samantha Quinn and Jason Bush from the Pacific Ocean Energy Trust, are the network director for the TEAMER program. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. If you've heard this presentation before, if you're a facility for RFTS 1, there's a few new items in here, but a lot of this will be repeated. But we appreciate you joining in either way. So just a little bit of background on what TEAMER is in case you're still getting up to speed. TEAMER is a DOE program that is focused on providing access to testing infrastructure, as well as testing expertise, and eventually working towards consistent testing protocols to help evaluate technologies. It's a 3-year campaign. As you can see there, it's a $16 million total, currently a $16 million program. Our goals are to support over 100 different projects through a series of 7 to 8 different call periods. We currently have upwards of 20 facilities already involved, looking to continue to expand that network, looking to provide thousands of hours of technical assistance in the categories of numerical modeling, bench testing, laboratory testing, tank, and then eventually open water testing, which is still not available for RFTS 2, but we're working with our partners to try to make that opportunity available in the future. And then, as it's federally funded, the goal here is to provide value to the marine energy industry at large. So the data will be distributed publicly as much as we're allowed to, as well as post-access reports, which we'll talk about here in a little bit after the access periods have been completed. Just a little background on what makes up TEAMER. I mentioned us as the network director, but we certainly aren't doing this by ourselves. We work very closely with the TEAMER Technical Board, which consists of, first off, members from the Department of Energy Water Power Technologies Office, as well as folks from the National Marine Renewable Energy Centers, including representatives from Florida Atlantic University, University of Hawaii, Oregon State, University of Washington, and University of Alaska Fairbanks. And we also, part of that technical board, are members from the National Renewable Energy Lab, NREL, as well as Sandia National Laboratories and Pacific Northwest National Laboratories. In the middle of all that, we are the network director. Our responsibilities are to, one of these being establish the facility network, work with all of you to bring your services in and coordinate that, the projects between you and the marine energy technology developers or researchers, as well as establishing program rules and reportings and all of that fun stuff that goes in the middle there. And then the additional network partners. We consider all of these facilities as part of the TEAMER network now. So your roles, as we'll talk about a little bit more later, are to provide access and expertise to marine energy developers. Quick rundown of how the program moves along, what the process is first of all, this is from an applicant, from a developer's point of view. The applicant would apply for support through TEAMER. Prior to the application, we do ask that they consult with the network facility to ensure that the projects are in line with the facility's capabilities. We'll talk more about that here in a minute as well. The application period typically is going to be open between 30 and 60 days. Our plan is to open the applications on November 9th, so that's just less than a month from now. And this time the application period will stay open through December 18th. And then the review process, which is not listed in there because it's not part of the applicant's problem. That's typically about a 30 to 60 day process as well. It took us a full 60 on RFTS 1. Hopefully over time we can streamline that a little bit. But once we've made the awards, once the technical board has suggested which awards to us through an independent review process, then it's up to the applicant and the test facility to plan. That's phase 2. And by planning, we mean formalizing your test plan. There's a TEAMER test plan template that we've provided. So the facility and the applicant are then to put that together and submit that back to the network director. After we review and make sure that the test plan is still in line with the application and the goals of the TEAMER program, then the parties are able to start testing. We have 90 days listed there. We really hope the testing begins in 90 days. It's typically going to be a 6-month period in which testing to be completed. So for RFTS 1, for example, we expect testing to start in December and be wrapped up by the end of May. So that's that 6-month period for that. For RFTS 2, which we're talking about now, I believe it's March 2021 through August of next year as well. So those are loose boundaries. We certainly want to keep things within there. If we're pushing the ends on either side, that's okay. But the goal here is to provide quick, efficient access to developers to receive technical assistance to their current technology needs. After the testing period, we do require a post-access report. So within 60 days of completing your access and your testing, it's up to the applicant, or at this point they're called the technical support recipient, to coordinate, put together the post-access report, and then archive the data. And this is all described to the applicant in the process. And then lastly, we have repeat on there. So as we've mentioned before, TEAMER is a program that will be offering opportunities every 4 to 6 months. That equates to roughly 3 to 4 per year at this current pace that we're at. So the goal with repeating is we really want technology developers to be focused on specific goals, specific technical objectives, not a full design process, because they'll have the opportunity to continue to apply and receive support through the TEAMER program. The roles and responsibilities of the facility, that's what this discussion is about. So we have some bullet points here, and we'll talk through these. And we're always open for more discussion on this as well. But first and foremost, it's to provide the network director with facility information and capabilities. We put this information on the website. That's how the applicants, the technology developers can really, we like to call it shop for facilities to get their testing needs met. So the more descriptions you can put in there, the more capabilities you can offer will help bring opportunities to your facility. Without that listed on the website, it's nearly impossible without direct communication for the applicants to see what's available at your facility. The non-lab facilities are then asked to work with us to finalize agreements with your institutions. A lot of you, we've already been through this process. Many of you on the call, we're still getting through it. I realize it's a challenge, especially during COVID, to really get your legal teams to review these long documents that we're asking you to do. But we appreciate your efforts to continue to try to secure these agreements. We need them in place, obviously, for protecting ourselves and to provide a pathway for us to provide the financial reimbursements for the support that you guys are providing to our network. So it's a really important part of this. And we're always happy to be directed to your legal teams, your VPs of research, however that may be. Feel free to connect us and we'll have those conversations. But it is crucial that we get those things done prior to allowing anyone to actually come do the work at your facility. The national labs work directly with the applicant to execute CRADA agreements, being that the funding for the labs is separate than the funding to the network director. That's just the process that we'll go through there. I believe all the labs on the call should be aware of that and be working on those currently for RFTS 1. The next bullet there is consult with the applicants prior to submitting the application. So we've talked about this a bit. Really, we want them to meet with you before submitting an application to ensure that their technical objectives can be met at your facility. We don't want applications coming in asking, saying they're going to get work done at a certain facility, and then we go reach out to the facility, and the facility may say, well, we can't actually do that, or we don't have the time available to do that in the next 6 months. So that's really where this pre-consultation is really important. After we receive applications, we do reach out to the facilities to provide us with a letter of response. That letter of response, I think I have it on the next slide, but generally just says we've spoken with the applicant. We think their test is within our capabilities. We have the bandwidth and the time to complete that test over the given time period. After the letter of response, after the applicant has been awarded, then the facility will work with the applicant to complete the TEAMER test plan. It's really up to the applicant to coordinate this effort with the facility. So if some of you are out there wondering what your next step is, you should be reaching out to the applicant. They should be reaching out to you, but it's their responsibility to get that test plan turned into us. But they do need to coordinate and work with the facility to define what their testing needs are more specifically. After the test plan, obviously there's the assistance period, whether that be numerical modeling, laboratory of some sort, or wave tanks and flumes. That's the period where you get the work done, collect your data, and then after that is the facility's role there is to review and approve the post-access report. So the developer will be completing the post-access report, but we do want some verification from the facility that what they're saying got done in the test actually got done in the test, or the modeling or analysis effort. Just a little a way for us to check off that things were done as described. This is just an example of what the facility letter of response is. For the RFTS 1, it was a PDF that we requested you all to fill out. I think we're moving to an online form moving forward. But generally these, we may update this a bit when we get there for the future rounds, but currently this is what we were asking of the facilities to provide. Small text, happy to provide this to anyone who has any more questions about it in the future. Budgets, this is where we talk about budgets, and budgets are kind of an odd thing because the funding for TEAMER goes directly to the facility. It doesn't actually go to the developer for these. So we don't ask the developer to provide us with an estimated budget in their application. What we do is we ask them to consult with you, and then in the letter of response, we ask for a ballpark budget as close as you think you can provide for what they're asking, what type of assistance they're asking for, and the time frame they're asking for. As I mentioned, it's a $13 million effort, so that may sound like a lot, it may not sound like a lot. We do consider budget in our evaluation. It's not a primary consideration, however, but we do think that the goals of TEAMER are to provide as many people with access as possible. So if they've provided clear objectives in their application, we really hope to be able to provide support to those groups. So we provide you with some ranges, and these are provided to the facility managers for you to think about as you're consulting with these applicants prior to the application. Generally speaking, we expect numerical modeling to fall between $20,000 and $50,000 ranges. As you can see, 50 to 75 for lab and bench, similar for tanks, flumes, and then open water support will go up from there. These are suggested ranges. There's no formal requirements. We understand that national labs tend to cost more than other facilities as well. RFTS 1, the numerical modeling budgets were exceeding these ranges, and we still supported that. But we really put those there because we think with that guidance that you all can help steer the applicant towards very specific and clear objectives for a test. There's always the opportunity to come back for more in the future, and we may begin to enforce these budgets a little bit more over time. So it'll be up to the facilities in some ways to work with the applicants to say, well, you have a $200,000 bench test proposed here. We think that you can slim down your scope and focus on this clear objective for 75. That'll give you a better chance of actually being awarded. These are, again, suggested ranges, just something to think about and consider as you're helping the applicants get ready for their application. Project, and then next bullet there, projects exceeding these budgets would certainly need to show a high value to the industry. We think, like I said, we would never, it's not the primary criteria, but it is something we consider. And if we're going to spend a lot of money on a project, we think it needs to have a lot of value to the industry. Budget is available for these pre-assistance activities. So that is, for that consulting or working on the test plan. We would hope that you don't really exceed 2 hours per applicant for the pre-consultation period. Obviously, when you get to the test plan phase, it may be a little bit longer there, but the goal here is, we understand that it takes time and effort on your part to work with these folks to put applications together, and we're willing to reimburse you for that effort if necessary. We do ask that you reach out to us and essentially be something part of that master facility agreement, that once we have that in place, we can create an addendum to be able to support you, your pre-application assistance. So after RFTS 1, we realized the role of facility managers could help the applicants to put together better applications. We expect that you all would, in that consultation, talk with them about their needs and your capabilities, but also suggest and work with them to really define these goals to help them put a better application together. So, this is something we're providing to the applicants as well, but really what we saw from the first round of support was that successful applications will clearly align with the goals of TEAMER. They'll define a clear technical objective for which TEAMER support will assist. That one should be in bold. They should show strong coordination with the chosen facility, include a clear description of why this is a logical next step in the technology's development, have a reasonable timeline that will fit within the 6-month period, do not rely on the successful completion of prior or concurring tests, and provide value to the industry at large. That one about relying on successful completion of tests, there was several multi-phase projects, and we're okay. I think, applications can involve more than one facility, but if it's a project that says phase 1 has to succeed for phase 2 to proceed, we would recommend just applying for phase 1. You're more likely to be awarded if the likelihood of success isn't a primary factor for your next phases. I'd like to just talk about what type of agreements we have. This is somewhat of a convoluted process, being that we're funded by the Department of Energy, but then we provide the funding to the facilities, as I mentioned, not to the actual developers or researchers. So a few different agreements that may be in place here. POET and the non-national lab facilities, we execute a master network facility agreement. Essentially, that's one large and long agreement that agrees to all the terms and conditions and our flow down requirements from the Department of Energy, IP considerations, trademarks, different things like that. And then so we would agree to all those terms, and then that's hopefully all before an actual project comes to your facility. Once the actual project is awarded and approved at your facility, then we add an addendum to that agreement, just saying developer X is doing this test at this facility for this amount of money. And that way we have a documented process for how much we owe to that facility at the time, and a few more terms and conditions that may apply. The national labs are working, they're funded via their annual operating plans. So they will execute CRADA agreements with the developer on a one-off basis. And then additionally, the facilities, the universities, the institutions providing testing that are not national labs can execute additional agreements with the technical support recipient if necessary. So those can be joint work statements, non-disclosure agreements, et cetera, different trademark IP agreements. Those are things we would add as schedules to the master network agreement with those facilities, but that can vary between facilities and institutions. Really, our goal is to have an agreement to provide testing support to the developers. And then if the facility needs something with that developer to help provide access or some type of security for their processes, then they're allowed and encouraged to go ahead and do that. And then lastly, there's POET and the technical support recipient. There is a small portion of funding that can go for travel stipends, administrative stipends to the developers. So under that situation, we have a very standard basic agreement saying they need to provide us with the post-access report and comply with the TEAMER rules before we would give them that funding. Currently, what we're asking of you all would be to go ahead and review the TEAMER website. As you may have noticed yesterday afternoon, we sent out notification to the network at large, all the followers of TEAMER, saying that the application period is opening November 9th. And we've updated our facilities page from RFTS 1. So even if you participated in the first and you've looked at the page before, we encourage you to go back and look again, because we've updated mostly just the format, and we transferred most of the information over into the new format. But please go ahead and take a look, make sure it's all there. If you have any suggestions of better ways to highlight specific capabilities, let us know. This is a constant process of improving and getting better at things and making things look nicer, and we appreciate all the valuable feedback anyone can give us there. If you have any photos, or if you don't like the way your logo looks on the website, go ahead and send us new versions, or we can work with you to find the better versions of your logos. This is technical computing stuff that is a big pain in the butt sometimes, but we've found certain ways work better than others for that. But then photos and videos, if you have links, I think we could do videos. Sam might be cringing as I say that, but within each facilities page, we really want to give you all the opportunity to highlight your facility as best you can. So if you have some great photos or reference documents, I think we can include links, especially to a lot of those different items. Assist us to finalize the facility agreements. Again, this is a complicated process, and COVID doesn't make it any easier, but we are still working on agreements with several facilities, and we hope to expedite that process for current facilities as well as future facilities, so that we don't have any delays in testing when the time comes. And then promote your facilities as part of the TEAMER network. If you have close contacts of marine energy developers or other technology developers who would fall within the goals of the TEAMER program, encourage them to see the program, learn about it, and apply for support at your network, at your facility. We do our part. We have our media channels, but it's also up to this group as well to really spread the word about TEAMER, and link it to our website, link folks to our social media accounts, tell them to sign up for our newsletters. As we start getting more projects through the process, we'll have those post-access reports, or people can see the work that's been done, and it might give them new ideas for requests for technical support on their own time. So a lot of this is up to you all. We have some suggestions. If anyone's curious, would like to talk to us about ways to help promote their facility, please be in touch. We have logos and pictures and one-pagers and all sorts of things that could be really beneficial to people if requested. And then I think this is the last slide. So how to stay up to date with us. Obviously, I'm sure most of you get the email updates, but if you don't, you can go to our website, teamer-us.org. I believe at the bottom of the homepage there is where to sign up for our mailing list. We are on all of your favorite social media channels. And then as well, we can be reached directly at the email addresses down there. Both me and Sam readily available. There's also a contact form on the website if you're interested in that. And then lastly, we'll follow up with this link as well, but we've created a two or three pager facility reference document that we thought would be helpful for everyone to have. So we will email that to you, but it's also available on our website at that link, which essentially covers most of what we talked about today, but there might be a few more details in that document. So I believe that's the end of my presentation. I don't know if any questions came in over chat during time, but I think we, obviously have some time to answer any questions anyone may have. You're always welcome to send us an email or ask a question anytime. But, feel free to jump in with a question at this point if you like. Wonderful. I haven't been muted the whole time, right? Sam, are you there? This all worked well?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, great. If there's no questions, we really do appreciate you all your efforts to support us and support the industry and provide the value that TEAMER is hoping to achieve. Feel free to reach out at any time. We're always available. This is about 90% of what our time is devoted to these days. So you're not bothering us with questions about TEAMER. We're always happy to help and look forward to working with you all in the future. So hope everybody's well and staying safe. And was there a question there, or was that?
Yeah, we did get one question from Martin saying, is the scope of RFTS 2 the same as for RFTS 1?
The scope, I'm trying to look at the question here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so everything should be very similar, Martin. Time frames, scope, budgets, everything very similar to RFTS 1. I don't know if you had a more specific question. That looks like you're unmuted now.
Yeah, hi Matt. I was just wondering whether it's similar to 1 or whether we will be including open water testing at some point as well.
Yeah, no, at this point, we didn't finish everything we needed to do to get open water testing available for RFTS 2, unfortunately. So we will be reaching out to everybody, hopefully in the next, I hate to keep putting timelines on this, but our goal is to have it available for RFTS 3, which we would expect the application period, so that's after the facilities are approved and everything, to go on in March for testing, likely over the summer, which seems to be more of in a lot of places, a better opportunity for open water testing. So we'll be in touch to this network specifically for any open water requests.
Yeah, great, thanks.
All right, well, thanks everyone. We'll go ahead and get this recording processed and send it out to you all with the version of these slides, as well as a link to that reference document that I mentioned earlier. So thanks again. Hope everybody's safe and healthy and well. And we look forward to working with you and hopefully seeing you in person and not talking over the computer one day. So have a great afternoon.